I'd like to welcome everybody to the April meeting of the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Commission. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. And as always, our prayer and Pledge of Allegiance will be first, and Elsie is going to take care of that for us. Elsie?
Let us bow. Our Father, we come to Thee today first to thank You for the many blessings that You have bestowed upon us. Be with us as we make decisions that affect our community. Be with the men and women that are overseas fighting in the war. Please bring them back home safely. These and many more blessings we ask in Your name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Elsie. I believe everyone received their packet earlier in the week. Contained in that packet were the minutes from our March meeting. This time, does anybody have any changes, corrections, amendments that need to be made to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
We have a motion for approval
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We move now to new business. Item number 1 is a review of the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation's benchmarking program. Lanny?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, our department is currently going through a process of reviewing all of our operational standards, management practices, and so forth. And we're doing that in accordance with the benchmarking program that is provided by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. This is a certificated program. It is mirrored basically by the program of accreditation, which is offered through the National Recreation Parks Association. It is a very, very good tool for us in gauging how we are performing as a department, how we are managed, our management practices, and it also offers best practice standards for us so that we can gauge how we are delivering our services to our citizens. And we are currently engaged in that process. Now, I have got a couple of copies here I want to pass to the Commission. Kelly, could you give those to them? Just for your review. We have information in the packet, but the benchmarking program is divided into tiers. There are 3 tiers. Obviously, Tier 1 is the easiest tier to obtain. Tier 2 is the next tier, and of course Tier 3 is the highest tier. It demands the most work, and it demands the most performance in terms of really becoming professionally geared management-wise and organizational-wise for the department. What we are seeking is a Tier 3 certification. If we get the Tier 3 certification, we will be the second department in the state of Tennessee with a Tier 3 certification. Germantown right now is the Tier 3 certified department, the only one in the state. It was grandfathered, so to speak, because Germantown is also an accredited department through the National Recreation and Parks Association. So they have not formally gone through this process. They were grandfathered in. We will be the first department in the state of Tennessee that will go through this certification program. I'm sure other departments will be looking to us, much like they do on many other things that we do, on how we went about this process, the things that we had to do, the materials that we had to put in place. And we have been working for the past couple of years trying to get certain standards, certain management practices, and so forth put in place so that we could position ourselves to go through this exercise. We have a lot of the materials that you see listed, there are 16 different categories already in place. Others, we are having to put committees together, and we're working toward getting those documents and those manuals and so forth that we need that will help us in our operations. Like I said, this will make us more efficient, more effective. Hopefully we can produce a better product at a lower cost. But with that, I'd like to bring Ms. Jenny Brinkman up to the microphone and let Jenny, one of the things that it says right up front, you can see it in that manual, it says that you need to assign a coordinator to coordinate all the activities, because there are several things that you have to gather, and there has to be a gathering point, so to speak. I have assigned Ms. Brinkman to that task, and I'd like for her to bring up the commission up to date on where we're at in the process.
Hey, Jenny.
Thank you. This is a huge endeavor that we are taking on, but it is, again, going to allow us to become more of an efficient department. And as all of us coordinators, we're really excited about it. There is a committee that has been put together, myself as the task leader, and my role in this is to assist everyone in gathering their information, as well as filing it and creating an organization system so that when our PDEC consultant comes into town and goes through everything, I'll be the point person to make sure he's able to access what he's referring to. And with that, what we've done is we've met as a group. I met with Lanny. We decided who would be the key players and be able to accumulate the information. And that committee consists of myself, Mr. Goodwin, Cindy Nance, who is with our administrative office, Debbie Terry with our administrative office, Angela Jackson, who is the coordinator for the Greenways and Wetlands, as well as a lot of interaction with land use management, and then Joe Maloney, who is with our maintenance division in terms of land use and facility use management, as well as maintenance schedules. So this is a great crew that's meeting together. We're meeting every 3 weeks. We're in the process right now of first accumulating all the procedures and operations that we have into effect now that do apply to these standards. And then we're in the next process of creating those procedures that we may either need to fine-tune or create new to make sure that we're as efficient as possible and we're meeting the requirements set forth in the standards. So we're meeting every 3 weeks. We meet again here next week, and we're going to be going over some rough drafts of land use management plans. We're going to be looking at our master planning, making sure that we're meeting all those criteria. And as you can see, the 16 standards we have listed for you, we have about 3 of them pretty much taken care of right now. And our deadline is midsummer. We have scheduled with the TDEC to come out and see if we have met all the criteria. So we're on target. We're meeting the deadlines, and we feel we'll be ready by midsummer. Do you have any questions for the committee?
Anybody have any questions for Jenny?
I have one. Aside from the great honor we would have if we succeeded in this process, does it have any other sort of rewards?
It
Say,
does.
such as if we're writing grants, for instance?
It does. Matter of fact, Mr. Roediger, that's an excellent question. There are several things, as you know, when you write grants that you have to justify in those grants. Your delivery systems, your planning processes, those kind of things. As a certified benchmarked department, those things are omitted, so to speak, from your grant, and all you have to do and put in your grant is a benchmark department, certified through TDEC, and that takes care of that portion of the grant. So, in essence, a lot of the grub work that you do when you put the grants together is done in this, and they are accepting that as documentation.
That's great. What's the goal to have it completed?
Midsummer.
Midsummer.
We're shooting for end of June.
That's great.
Is there any other financial benefit to the city, maybe by having lower bond cost?
Mr. Tips, hopefully like I mentioned earlier, one of the financial rewards will be that we can deliver a product at a lesser price because we can become more efficient, more effective. We don't have duplication, those kind of things, and we will have a designated process. What we're going to talk to you a little bit more about in this commission meeting is looking at our 5-year plan, our customer satisfaction survey, which I think will be a tool guide us in the next few years. That's the next item on the agenda, but also a program evaluation, which we're going to talk to you about as well, which I think will start giving us information on which programs that maybe we need to phase out, which programs we need to put more emphasis in, those kind of things. And this document requires that you have those types of instruments and that you use that types of best practices when delivering services.
So this is kind of a lot like, say, a 3-star certification that we have with economic community development.
Very
Following these guidelines, you're going to be the type of department that you need to be, and you're going to be managing resources wisely and so forth.
Right, and it will also put us in a position that in, say, a year or 2 years, that we can apply for national accreditation.
Thank you.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? Jenny, thanks for the update. Move now to item 2 under new business. It's a review and consideration for approval of the Parks and Recreation Satisfaction Survey that Lanny just alluded to. Jenny?
Yes. As part of this benchmarking process, in section standard number 7, which applies to marketing and customer services, we do need to be getting into the process of evaluating where we're at and where we need to be going. And we need the public's opinion and input in on this. So as part of our updating our 5-year recreation plan, we've designed a Parks and Recreation Satisfaction Survey that will do just that. And it's going to help us determine our improvements as well as our expenditures for the next 5 years. This will be an online survey utilizing the constant contact system that we have subscribed to for our e-newsletters and surveying. It will be accessible through our website as well as the city homepage, and we've decided to do an online as ease of access. Now, for those that do not have internet access, we will have paper copies available at all of our sites to be able to take the survey, so it will be accessible to everyone. In doing our research on what other Parks and Recreation departments have been doing across the country, it seemed to be that most had better success when they did an online survey. They got, instead of doing mail-outs and where they had to, the person had to mail it back in, they had a better results when they did an online survey. So this this survey, what we've done is as an incentive to take the survey. If once they complete the survey, they will be directed to a closing page that will allow them to print off a coupon for 3 free family visits to Sports Common Patterson. And if they already have a pass, it's transferable if they'd like to give it as a gift to someone else. So we felt that was a good incentive for them, one, to kind of come and see what it's like at Sports Common Patterson if they have not have tried it, and bring their family. So we thought 3 family visits would be a good incentive. And part of this today is we're asking for your approval as that is an incentive. We have planned a marketing campaign. How are we going to get the word out about this to get as much exposure about the survey? We've created a marketing campaign titled Your Opinion Matters. And we're going to have posters that are going to have be picturing several of our staff members, to make it more of a personal touch. If they go to SportsCom, it may be the facility superintendent or the operations coordinator on a poster saying, your opinion matters to me. We want to make sure that it's kind of on a personal level and they see a familiar face. Kind of going off of the be counted when they did the census. We're trying to play on those words a little bit. We're also going to be doing posters, website access, as well as media exposure, trying to get some articles about it, getting out the word that we need the input, and we plan to run this through June, July, and August, so that we'll have those results at the end of the summer. And additionally, what's great about this constant contact system is that it will analyze the results for us, give us the percentages on each question. So what I plan to do today is to walk you through the survey. And if you could give us some input on the questions, or if there's something else you'd like to see added, as part of the commission, we understand that you need to have some input on this and making sure that we're collecting the right data. So this is a version of the online survey they will be taking. And when they first click onto the link, it'll take them to a greeting page explaining about the incentive, explaining what the survey is, what we're looking for, and again about how they will get that incentive once they finish. They'll click Continue, and it takes them to the survey. So the first section is getting their opinion on how we're doing and where we need to improve. And we felt the first question should be about our mission statement. Do they feel Parks and Recreation programs improve the quality of life in a community? Yes or no? Are we doing what we need to be doing? So first and foremost. And then we've added a comment box if they'd like to maybe give some input of how that has affected their quality of life. And feel free at any time to jump in if you have a question or you want to rephrase something. The second question is, how satisfied are you with the appearance, maintenance, and cleanliness of the parks, greenways, and wetlands listed below? And we've given them the opportunity to list any comments or suggestions. So we've listed all of our main parks as well as our greenways and wetlands. And we've based most of these on a satisfaction, starting with a negative, not at all satisfied, to ending with very satisfied, or they may have no opinion at all. They may not have been to one of those parks and aren't able to give an opinion about it. The next question is dealing with the facilities, the appearance, maintenance, and cleanliness, and how satisfied they are with the different facilities that we have. In addition, we added the athletics facilities onto this because we are looking at some possible improvements there, and we need to get some feedback. And all of these questions, we've allowed them. I do want to make a note that all the questions that have a red asterisk beside it are required questions for them to answer to. The results will not be tallied until they answer those questions. The next question we decided to address is safety. How safe do they feel at our parks and our facilities? So this one deals with parks, greenways, and wetlands, and do they go from not at all safe to very safe or no opinion? And we've left a comment box to ask them to specify the location and safety concerns in that comment box that they do have some concerns. We do the same thing in number 5 about the facilities. How safe do they feel? We felt this is very important to see if our efforts with our police assistance as well is working, and do they feel comfortable being at our sites. The next question is, how would you rate the Parks and Recreation Department efforts in the following areas in terms of our maintenance of our parks and facilities, developing new parks and recreation facilities, as well as preserving land and green space? We'd like to know how they feel like we're doing so far up to date in these areas. The next couple of sections addresses our current facilities as well as what we need to add. This question is, how would you rate the importance of improving the following areas? These are lists of areas that we have now, and would they like to see those improved? And we try to cover all the different areas and different interests that the city has. The next question is the importance of expanding. Would they like to see more of those items? We want to know how important is it to them that we expand these areas. And again, some of them may have no opinion. They may not have any dogs. They may not go to the dog park. So we're giving that option of that. If it's not even an opinion on it, they can give us that. And as you notice, all of these have comment boxes if they want to add something or give a reasoning of why they want to expand it. The next one that rates the importance of adding. We've selected some areas that we are interested in possibly looking into pursuing and expanding. So we've listed these as the ones that we thought we'd be interested to see if they want to expand it. In terms of water parks, splash pads, skate parks, climbing walls, bike trails, an outdoor amphitheater, and a large event venue. And 10 is, what amenities or facilities would you like to see added to our park system? If we haven't listed something that they're interested in seeing, this is an opportunity for them to list something else. The next question is, we recognize that in this economy and in this day and age, we need to be given some focus to becoming more environmentally friendly. And we'd like to know what initiatives are important to them. So we have listed these as areas that we could possibly improve and become more environmental friendly. And we'd like to know the importance of that to them. The next question starts going to our programming, seeing how effective we are in our current programming. So we've asked them to check the appropriate spaces where they would like to see Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation increase its activities for the following groups during the following times. We want to see, when do they want toddler programs? When do they want youth programs? Do they want it on the weekdays? Do they want it on the weeknights? Do they want it on the weekends? That's some crucial information that we need to see that we haven't taken data for in a while. So this is a very important question to give us some really good, true data. And as well as we give them the opportunity that if they don't have children that are 4 and under, it's a not applicable situation. The next question gives us some input on our efforts in providing quality recreation in our different divisions. We want to know how we're doing in aquatics, athletics, cultural arts, fitness, wellness, outdoor programs, our summer camps, special events, as well as our general and family programs. And we've added an additional comment box. If there's somewhere we need to approve it, they'd like to give us some input on that. The next question involves our special events. We'd like to know what events they or their family have attended, and they can mark as many as they want on this, as well as an additional comment box if they'd like to give us comments. Also, if there's another special event that we do not have listed here that they have attended, we'd be interested in knowing that. For marketing purposes, we do need to see what's working. How would they prefer to find out the information about our program events? So we've asked them to choose their top 3. These are the marketing tools that we currently utilize to get the word out about our programs. We'd like to know what is the most popular. Now that ends the section on getting their input and opinion. The next section is a background information. These questions will enable us to determine if our survey results are representative of the community. Some of these questions are required and some of them are not. And I'll make a point of stating that. Number 16 is we'd like to know within their household how many in each age group do they have. And these are based upon how we divide up our programs in age groups. So we made a point of doing that. We'd like to know their gender. Number 18 is not a required question. We'd like to know their highest level of formal education. This is an optional question. The same for number 19 on asking their approximate total household income in 2008. This is an optional question as well. Number 20 addresses, we'd like to know what section of the community do they live, so that we can know if if they would like to see more parks. This will give us an idea of where they would like to see more parks. And the final question, we try to limit to 21 question, this is another optional question. If they'd like to be added to our event mailing list, they have the opportunity here. As well as we make sure we have our privacy claim that we are committed to respecting their privacy. While their email address will be a public record, we will not use it. We will use it only to send them city information about programs and events. We will not share it with any other person or organization unless legally required to do so. And again, this is an optional if they'd like to join it. We send out monthly e-newsletters as well as various coupons and special postcards about an upcoming event. Once they do that, they'll click and finish the survey, and that will take them to their closing page where they're directed to print and fill out and bring their coupon to redeem for 3 family visits to Sportscom or Patterson. I do want to note that, again, if they already have a pass, it is transferable if they like to give it to someone else as a gift. We've made the coupon expire at the end of this year to give them plenty of time to redeem it, and it cannot be redeemed for cash. Okay. Do you have any questions or suggestions about the survey?
Anybody have any comments, questions?
It looks very nice. I'm just curious, so that this will have some real value to you. How will you be able to prevent duplicate responses?
Oh, that's a good question. I have the settings where once it's taken one time at a computer, they cannot take it again. So that's a good question. As well as there's a confirmation code at the bottom of the coupon that will, for tracking purposes, that we'll know that they will not be able to be copied and used again.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, looking at the survey, questions 3 and 5 were similar to 2 and 4. Why didn't you just, encompass those in those other questions instead of breaking them out?
We originally had it that way, but it was starting to get overwhelming, the amount of choices and the length of the questions, so we decided to break them out to facilities and parks because it was quite overwhelming originally.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took the whole page. So
All right.
what we were trying to do is we were trying to, as we modeled this, try to make it something that would be easy for someone to look at, click. It's right there within their view site. And there's certain things, if you start having to roll down and then you get down at the bottom and you think, well, what was the question? We want them to see the question and the responses right there when we do that. So it was part of getting the mindset for taking the survey.
My mindset said, I've seen this question before.
We can adjust some of the lettering, maybe put some all caps in what's different in each question, and maybe bring their attention that this is about safety and this is about appearances. If that would make it a little bit easier, we can do that.
Are there other areas that you could think of that we did not cover as we developed this survey? This is going to be a real working instrument for us, because when we bring it back, we're going to be able to analyze the data several different ways. We can compare, let's say, different areas of the city. We may have, in certain areas of the city, more seniors responding than families with children. And so that tells us that when we start looking at programs and offering programs in different areas, then we need to be more age-specific in those particular areas.
What kind of response are you hoping to get, and what kind of response do you need to get for it to be statistically significant?
Generally, they say that if you can get somewhere between 5 and 10%, it's generally significant. Because it's online, and we're not sending out a definite number of surveys, then it's not a percentage of.
Right.
And so the more that we get, now what we'll look at is, one of the first things is how many did we get across the board? Did we get 25% from the north, 25 from the middle, 20, where are those percentages skewed, so to speak? And then we can compare that to the population centers, and it may link up directly to population centers. It may be that, this is more of an industrial area, this is more of a business area, so the numbers that we get from those folks are going to be lower. So that'll be our first comparison that we look. But we're also engaging Middle Tennessee State University. We've talked to Dr. Joey Gray there, and we've asked her if she would participate as the university to look at the data, to help us analyze it, those kind of things, to make sure that what we're getting is giving us the information that we need in terms of feedback, so that we can do the comparisons. We can come back to the commission and say, based on the information that we've got in here, this is where we need to go. These are the things that we need to improve. These are the areas that we need to concentrate on. So at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for.
I hate to monopolize this, but when you look at number 20, about the area that you reside in, Murfreesboro, you could have people from outside the city that use our services. That's true. That could respond.
Mm-hmm. I can make an additional section of county residents.
I mean, obviously, we want to know which area of the city that they generally serve, or that they participate,
that's a good point.
But it would seem to me that we would like to get other inputs.
We do have participants that even come from outside the county that participate in our program.
Okay, we'll make sure to adjust that question.
You could adjust it just to put another other and then explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you could segregate.
That's a good point.
Good point.
Do you have an age limit for filling this out?
No, sir. If they're internet literate, we feel that they'll be able to mark their age and what household they are in the question. In their household, they'll be able to mark what it is. We do not have an age limit. No, there's no way for us to be able to tell what that is, but we can add that question in there and ask them their age. We'll need to determine, is that a required question or a non-required? I think that would be kind of for Kelly to answer.
Since it's basically an anonymous survey, I don't see any problem with asking their age, if that's important to you.
We can add a question that says, what is the age of the respondent?
Okay.
Because, I get several calls from teens that have legitimate concerns and requests. I got one lately from a young teen that was interested in skateboarding. And he was very passionate about skateboarding. Matter of fact, he said his goal was to build a skateboard and raise the skateboard park and raise the money himself to do that. And so we talked for probably about 30 minutes about logistical things, how he needed to go about, so forth. And he's touched base a couple of times since then. So, it's important that we provide services for all the different age groups, and I think all that information is valuable. We can weigh it based on the age of the respondent, but if we get 500 teens that says they would like to be doing something, it's probably something we need to be looking at.
I think it'd be helpful to have that age, or at least a breakdown, not individually aged, but within a grouping. Of course, you got to be careful not to put too many questions out there, or people won't.
Right.
I think we keep it 25 questions or less. I think that's a very manageable survey that will take them no more than 5 minutes to complete.
Any other questions or comments about this one? Is Jenny also going to cover the program?
Yes.
Well, let's
We need
go
a
ahead.
motion to approve.
Well, what I was going to suggest is both of these next two items involve the review and consideration for these two surveys. We'll just cover them both and do it in one motion.
Okay, great. So the next aspect is a program evaluation. Once a participant or user participates in one of our programs, we'd like to get some feedback and input, and this will be based on a schedule. Now, the attached program evaluation that I'm going to show you will be measures the effectiveness in the following areas: staff, program content and delivery, facility appearance and safety, as well as an opportunity for comments and suggestions. And as an incentive program, what we're asking for you today is, one, to approve this survey, and two, we would like to begin the incentive program for the next 2 months to be a free monthly pass. And what we determine is that for every 100 responses, we'll do a drawing for a monthly pass. So if we get 300, we'll do 3 drawings to give an accessible drawing to everyone and have more options. We determined that monthly passes are very popular. It will give them access to facility and get kind of a taste of what it's like to come and experience at both Sportscom and Patterson. Now, based upon the frequency of the program, we've created an evaluation schedule on how often the program staff should conduct the evaluations. For special events, we'd like to be done at the completion of the event with incentives and through email. One-time programs at the completion of the program. For weekly and bi-weekly programs, we'd like to have that conducted the last program of the month. Monthly or bi-monthly, the last program of the month. For series programs, which you have several of, at the completion of the series. For camps, at the completion of that camp week. And then leagues at the completion of the league. Now, how this will be implemented will be the coordinator will hand out the paper surveys that you have attached in your packet today, and they'll be encouraged to fill that out and drop it off at the front desk. At that point, they'll be entered into our drawing for the monthly passes. That will be the incentive to follow through with it. In addition, an online program evaluation, which I'm going to take you through today, will be available online if they go to one of our events or they happen to be going through our website and they like to give us some feedback. Currently, right now on our website, we do have a website feedback survey. So we'll have a survey page, and they'll be able to access it through there. And here is our program evaluation. It's very short and quick, doesn't take too much of their time. We just let them know they're very important to us. We're committed to excellence by providing high-quality programs and services, and we appreciate their help in evaluating our programs and events. And it lets them know at the end of the evaluation they'll have the option of entering our monthly drawing. The first question just addresses where the program was located to let us know, and we listed all of our sites where we have programs at, as well as they'd like to specify another. The next question tells us what program they want to evaluate us on. And if they don't have the exact same name of the event, by giving us a glimpse of what it is and we can determine the location, we can figure out what program they're specifying. If they can, the day and time of the program, and then the program staff. I left this as an optional question. They may not know the name of the staff member that did the program that day. Or if it was a special event, they may not know the exact person. Number 5 just addresses the program staff. We asked them to rate them on the following: knowledge, preparedness, leadership ability, professionalism, enthusiasm and motivation, and promptness. How satisfied are they on those categories? And an opportunity to comment. They want to say, hey, they were great, we enjoyed the program, or they could use some improvement in these areas. The next question is about program content. We'd like to know, were they satisfied with the day and time offered, the program fees, the program content, if they enjoyed the program, the registration process, as well as the class size. And there's another opportunity to comment. We'd also like to get some input and have them rate the facility location it was located at, the cleanliness and safety, the equipment condition of the program, and the overall customer service. And again, there's another option for a comment box. The next question we thought was pretty important is, would they like to see this program repeated? Is this a viable program that we need to keep continuing? 9 is optional. What can we do to make this program better? As is the next question is optional. What other programs and events they'd like to see offered? The next question is required. We'd like to know how they learned about the program. And then last, the optional is if they'd like to be entered into our monthly drawing, they're to enter their name and phone number so that we can contact them for purposes if they did win the monthly pass. It will only be used for drawing purposes. Once that month period has gone, we will throw away that information, dispose of it. We will not keep it on hand. And they'll also have the option of adding to our email list, and they can list their email address. And again, there is our privacy disclaimer. And we ended with thank you for your time and input. It's a very quick, short, 12 questions. Shouldn't take up too much of their time.
Okay.
Do you have any suggestions or comments?
Any comments, suggestions for Jenny on this one? Anyone? No? Jenny's good work on this. I think we'll get some good information from it. And this time we'll need a motion for approval of both of these surveys as reviewed.
So moved.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Jenny, thank you.
What about the incentives? Will that be, is that included in that?
Yeah, that's
approval?
included,
Okay.
just as you presented.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good work on that.
That will really help us in evaluating our facilities and programs and staff, and help us make our programs much better, I think.
That's good work. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, next item under new business, item number 4. We're going to review and suggest any possible revisions of our commission goals and objectives. Lanny?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, several years ago, the commission went back and looked at their goals and objectives, did a revision of those. As a part of our 5-year plan update, I'm asking the commission to again revisit the goals and objectives, and would like to have discussion among the commissioners about the goals and objectives, and you see them listed here, and to see if there's any changes or revisions that are needed, and if there are, if we could possibly get those made today, and if you would like to spend more time on those, whether you would like to call a special meeting and spend time on developing the goals and objectives for the department and for the commission for the next 5 years.
I think everybody had a chance to look over these, and feel free to make any comments or suggestions that you wish.
I'll just ask if, has your staff recommended any changes?
We read over them. I made a couple of tweaks just to make it more in line with today's terminology, especially when you deal with the people with disabilities and those kind of things. But they're pretty much still in line. I mean, they're very general. when you read them, they're very general, but it does cover pretty much everything that we are doing, and it would keep us on mission in terms of delivering recreational services to our citizens. But it is the opportunity for the commission to revisit those, to make additions or corrections or revisions, and to possibly adopt them for the next 5 years, which gives us direction as a department on which way the commission would like for us to be proceeding.
I got a question on goal number 2. To contribute directly to the healthy, physical, emotional, and social growth and development of participants, wouldn't healthy be included in physical and emotional growth and development?
It would. I mean, those are very broad terms. But when we're looking at healthy, I think what we're looking at is creating a state of wellness, having people do lifestyle changes. Of course, that leads to better physical development, better mental development. We have children that obviously are facing obesity problems, those kind of things. We have people coming in that have health issues that, whether they've had a heart attack, now they are exercising more, those kind of things. So we left that broad. And what that could encompass, really getting down to some kind of grassroots type things, Mr. Tips could even get down as far as us showing kids how to make healthy snacks, which is what we do at Patterson now. We, instead of, having candy bars and those kind of things, we'll bring in fruits and so forth, and we'll show them how, at home, how they can produce healthy snacks, just like we do at the center. So a lot of things that we do are geared toward creating a healthier individual.
I read the same thing. It just doesn't read right.
It didn't read well.
It seems like it should read to contribute directly to the physical and emotional health as well as the social growth and development of participants.
Okay.
That's really how it read.
Or
to me.
include wellness as
I think it's just rewording it.
Exactly.
Okay? So, okay. So we can make goal number 2 say to contribute directly to the physical and emotional health. Is that good? And social growth and development of the participant.
Yeah, I think it's worded better.
Is it better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any
All right,
other?
we have a couple of educators on the board here, but they may have better linguists than I am, but that seems to sound better.
That's good. That's what we're looking for.
Anybody see anything else?
Other corrections, revisions?
What's the pleasure of the commission? You guys want to take action on this today? Would everybody prefer to have a little more time to think about it, or?
With that revision, I move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just one question. I think it would be good to put this on the annual agenda, which you probably do, to bring it up to us annually, and then we can,
Okay.
if there are changes sometime in the future, but right now it looks
I
really
think
good.
it's a great idea. Because one of the points I was going to make was just because we're doing this today, it's a working document. We can change these goals
Right.
periodically.
And I think, too, when you get the results of the 5-year satisfaction survey back, we can look and we can compare the goals to what is the response of the citizens to the 5-year survey, and we can see if our goals are in line with what they're requesting. And that drives what we do in terms of producing programs, improving facilities, considering new facilities in the future and so forth. And that is the exact role of the commission based on the charge in the charter.
Mr. Chairman, would we be able to offer an amendment to this motion to, in addition to approving this as it's been revised, also stipulate that it should be reviewed on an annual basis at a minimum?
You guys made the motion. You comfortable with that, Nat?
I am.
Okay.
So I'll make that motion to amend.
They've accepted. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second with the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you
Lanny.
very much.
Mr. Thomas Laird is with us today. He's going to update us on Relay for Life. Thomas, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me here today. Most of you, I'm sure, are aware of the Relay for Life, which is American Cancer Society's premier fundraising event. In fact, it's probably the largest fundraising event of its kind throughout mankind. The American Cancer Society has over 5,000 events throughout the nation, and we've been honored to ask to host one of the events in our park. The philosophy is one day, one night, one community, and it is actually a all-night event in which teams come together to remember those that have lost their lives to cancers and those that are currently fighting the fight against cancer. Each team is dedicated to have one person walk the track throughout the evening, and they'll come and sleep in tents and sleeping bags and keep walking throughout the night. It's a great event, and we've hosted it in Murfreesboro on several occasions, but this is actually the first time that we're going to try to put it in our parks, and it's going to be at Richard Siegel Park on June the 5th and 6th. And I guess I'm coming here today for the Commission's approval of the event, and also to encourage anyone that would like to participate in the event to do so. You can go to www.cancer.org and find our local event organizers and assemble a team of our own. We will have staff there to help get the event going and tear down the event. We'll have staff on call throughout the evening, so the park will be covered as far as staff-wise. And I think it'll be a great event and good for our community. And this group will go through the same procedure as any other walk, the American Heart Association, and several other fundraising efforts. We have a policy that we go through, and they'll do the same thing as any other group.
The reason we put this on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, is because it is an overnight event, and our park hours that are dictated by the ordinance says that it is 12, the park's closed at 12 and open back up at 6 unless otherwise posted. And to waive that would need action by the Commission for overnights.
Thomas, this doesn't impact any of the other programming going on at the facility?
No, sir.
Okay.
It'll actually be held in the community park there.
Okay.
So, but it'll begin at 7 p.m. and it'll wind up around 7 a.m. in the morning, and they should be packed up and out of there by 9 a.m.
Need a motion for approval?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thomas, thanks.
I wanted to bring to your attention also, we have a couple of events coming up that we want to make sure everyone's aware of. On April 11th, we're hosting the Easter egg hunt, citywide Easter egg hunt there at Richard Siegel Park. And if you have little ones or know of people that have little ones, it's a fabulous event. We'll start at 1 p.m. and we have hunts throughout the day for all ages. And we have special area for toddlers. There's carnival games, inflatables. It's a huge event. We want to encourage everyone to come out. And then we host our annual beach party, which will be at Barfield Crescent Park on May the 8th. And that's where we bring in about 60 ton of white sand and have a beach party. And then later we'll take that sand and put it on our ball fields for top dressing. So we get two uses out of one resource, and we're excited about that. So we encourage you to come out and be a participant.
Great.
What was that date on the beach party?
May the 8th. That's a Friday night.
Thomas, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Last item under new business is report from Canonsburg, Mr. Fred Trujillo. Fred, welcome. He's going to give us an update on the status of the seer bucket.
Oh, maybe. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, you know it's springtime when I'm over here talking about Pioneer Days at Canonsburg. Again, on April the 18th, we will have our Pioneer Days at Canonsburg. This will be our 33rd anniversary, and it's our annual spring opening. It's open, it's free for the family, it's an event that's always been free. We will have a lot of activities going on that day, including blacksmithing, lye soap making, craft shows, local craftsmen, artists, concessions, square dancing, clogging, cakewalks, an antique car exhibit, Dutch oven cooking, art league show. Of course, we're going to have a Wild Wild West show for those that want to get out there and shoot their guns.
Not everybody, Fred, right?
Not everybody, yeah. And a lot more. We have a lot of things going on that day. I think the biggest thing that we're doing this year is probably we have a new program, or there's a group that contacted us about doing some Dutch oven cooking for y'all that like to cook outside and go camping. Maybe you might learn some good lessons in how to cook outside in Dutch ovens. So they're going to be doing that on that day. You should have received on your packet also a small report on our yearly report that we do every year. That includes visitors that come to Canonsburg, and also it includes a revenue report. If you have any questions on that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. We had a very good year last year, and as you can see, that our attendance went up slightly and our revenue went up slightly. So we're anticipating another good year, and hopefully the recession will not affect Canonsburg at all. You should have also gone on your packet a calendar of events for the whole year, which tells you just about all the events that are going to be going on in Canonsburg all the way through December. Leading after Pioneer Days in April the 18th, then we'll have the Bible Reading Marathon, which leads up to the National Day of Prayer. Then, of course, the free day in May, and you should have a flyer on the Bible Reading Marathon. The free day in May, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. We just hosted at Canonsburg and all the other special places that we have in Rutherford County for tourists. Of course, in Canonsburg, we're always open free of charge to the public, so it pretty well stays the same. Some of the other visiting places at Rutherford County will be open or at a reduced fee on that day for our visitors. But the main thing is I want to invite the public out for our Pioneer Days. And I want to invite you all to come and join us on that day. It's always a big event. And like I said, it's our 33rd annual celebration. So we hope to have everybody out there and having a good time. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Fred? What is the status of the Cedar Bucket?
Pardon?
What is the status of the Cedar Bucket? You know, I'm very fond of that thing.
Oh, I know, and I get that question all the time, but I really don't know. It's in the works. So some of the blacksmithers have given me an up-to-date on it, and they say that they have moved all the pieces to somebody's garage, and they're working on it. So hopefully, pretty soon we'll see a new Cedar Bucket.
I look forward to that day.
Me too.
The world's largest Cedar Bucket wasn't built in a day.
No. Right. Mr. Chairman, if I could have a minute. Mr. Trujillo, who has done a great job through the years at Canonsburg, was there during the inception and part of building the original villages, and has worked there. And I think everybody pretty much refers to Fred Trujillo in Canonsburg in the same breath. Has announced his retirement. He will be leaving July the 15th, and I want to wish Fred well. He has done a tremendous job for this department. And a matter of fact, when he walked in and told me, I said, well, I'm not accepting this. You can just plan to stay. But he's reached kind of the end of his city career, and he's going to move on to bigger and better things. And, of course, I know he and his wife, Lynn, like to camp. That's one of the things that they do quite often, and I'm sure he'll be doing more of that and more fishing and still visiting Canonsburg to see how things are going. But I just wanted to make the commission aware of that and let you have an opportunity, because this may be the last time that he appears before the commission, to wish him well.
Fred,
I
thank you
just
for your-
want to say, when you get as white-haired as I am now, you know it's time to move on. I did have black hair at one time or another, and I think it started turning white when we came under Parks and Rec in 1997. It's been progressively getting worse, and I said, well, it's time to go. So, but I have to say one thing about the city of Murfreesboro has been great for me and my family, and I appreciate the city giving me an opportunity to take care of Canonsburg. I started at Canonsburg with Mayor Westbrook's way back, and so he was the one that hired me to take care of Canonsburg. And for anybody that was around about that time, Canonsburg was really in bad shape. It was going down fast. So I'm glad to have had an opportunity to take care of Canonsburg for all these years. I know I visited with Mayor Westbrook's the day before he died, and he passed the torch over to me, and he says, take care of Canonsburg. That was his project, and that was his baby, and he loved it. And I lived in Canonsburg for 18 years, so it's part of my soul, too. So I hate to leave it behind, but there's times when you have to just go on to better things and retire and let somebody else carry the torch. So that's what I'm expected to do in July 15th. Thank you very much.
Fred, thank you for your years of service. You'll be missed.
Thank you.
You've done a fantastic job, and you've left big shoes to fill. Is there any other business to come before the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I've got some items, if you could just bear with me for a few minutes. The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation is in the process of reviewing the state recreation plan for the state of Tennessee. They will be holding a public meeting at Patterson on April the 9th for the general public from 6:30 to 8:30. We'd love to have the commission come out and participate in that. It is an opportunity to give your voice, not just for Murfreesboro, but for the state of Tennessee. And what is put in this plan generally is referred to in grants and other things, so that, it's what is Murfreesboro doing that ties to the state plan. And so it's important that Murfreesboro residents and Rutherford County residents come to this meeting and participate and voice their concerns and their wishes for what goes into that state recreation plan. So that is April the 9th from 6:30 to 8:30. Okay? Second thing, Kelly, could you pass those up there, please? As most of you know, there was a tornado that hit Murfreesboro on March 28th, and what I'm passing around to the commission is pictures of Old Fort Park. I know that the Boys and Girls Club got a lot of press because their building was hit very hard. Jackson Heights was hit very hard, and many other places, but it looks like it originated at Old Fort Park, which tore up the tennis courts numbers 5 through 8, bent over one of the light poles, messed the fences up, took down several trees within the park itself, did some damage at Kids Castle, down some trees in that facility, and also it looks like it affected one of our picnic pavilions. Now, Monday afternoon, I was with Mr. Richard Rucker and a structural engineer to make sure that those facilities were safe for public use. The shelter was deemed safe for public use. It will need some repairs, but we were clear to go ahead and use that shelter. The tennis courts, we were advised to keep courts 5 through 8 closed until those repairs were done. So I wanted to make the commission and the public aware of that. we're working as fast as we possibly can to get those repairs completed. We know that we have high school and middle school using the tennis courts right now and a lot of general public. So just bear with us. We're working as diligently as we can to get those repairs done, but I did want the commission to know that. Also, I'm sure you've seen the news reports about the Boys and Girls Club, and in conversations with city officials, Mr. Lyons, the deputy city manager, myself, and others, we decided Sunday morning to offer to the Boys and Girls Club temporary shelter at the McFadden Community Center. They started moving in Sunday afternoon, and they are conducting their programs at the McFadden Community Center. And we're working all the logistics between our program and the Boys and Girls program. So far, it's going pretty well. We think that they'll probably house there probably somewhere around 3 to 4 months while their repairs are done. But wanted to bring that to the commission's attention and just get the blessing from the commission to proceed forward.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just think it's fantastic that the way you reached out to the Boys and Girls Club. They provide a valuable service, and they need to continue, and it's a great partnership for both of us, I think.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. That was some of the discussion that we had. The Boys and Girls Club originated over on Kings Highway.
Yeah.
It was a little bitty building on Kings Highway, and I remember sitting down and writing the first user agreement that we had between the Boys and Girls Club and moving them into McFadden and watching the club grow, and it just, really outgrew the boundaries of McFadden and had opportunities to build a new club. And, of course, now we're back. And
I'm just grateful nobody was hurt in the storms. That's all that matters.
And that's a good thing. But anyway, I wanted to report that to the commission and show you the pictures of the tennis courts and give the status on those as well.
So we've got a motion on the floor for approval of the use agreement for Boys and Girls Club.
I so move.
We've already moved.
We've already motioned.
Oh, okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I know Ms. Baker will be getting with me, and we'll be getting an agreement put together shortly for that temporary time.
Okay.
All right.
Any other business?
That's all I have.
Being none, we stand adjourned.